All right, good morning everybody. Welcome to another Livin Freestyle Game Dev live stream. My name's Kevin. We do this twice a week. It works like office hours. It's an AMA Q&A. Hop in, ask questions. Generally around game dev, Unreal Engine, working with Maya, all those kinds of things. In the absence of questions, that's all right. What we'll do in the meantime is we will fill that time with I'm just working towards my own personal prototype. That actually happens quite frequently, so we've been making some progress, but at the same time, making a game 2 hours a week, it's a slow process. I'm fortunate enough to work in game dev. I currently work in R&D at Riot Games as a tech artist, which means I do have a pretty good... I'm in a good spot to be able to help out with both the art and the tech side, but also not necessarily be a master at anything. So we very much stumble through this, and I'm happy to stumble through this together. And we definitely did some stumbling during our last stream, especially with a lot of our tech. We were trying to multi-stream to 2 different sites at the same time, as well as we were trying a new capture card that really just tanked our stream. But I believe we're going to give that another shot today, this time without the nasty graphics card that was killing our performance. Hopefully we are doing a little bit better today, and we won't have any of those performance issues. We're live on Twitch and YouTube, so we should be hopefully good to go. And I took a look through, I didn't see any kind of questions from our previous streams, so we're going to hop right back into where we left off. I haven't had a whole lot of time to make any progress because I've been busy trying to fix the computer. And where we left off was we're working on trying to get our health packs set up and running. So let's take a look at making sure we're set up. And also, turns out, for some reason, we are missing video on this panel. So let's just add that real quick. This is going to come in quite big, but we'll fix it. All right. Now that we're off to the races, kind of where we left off was we were realizing that our health pack was, first off, it wasn't working. Then we converted it to a weapon. We were able to get it working, but there's just still lots of problems with it as a weapon, so I think it's time to actually convert it to something else. It's funny because we do all these plannings and design docs and technical docs and everything, and I specifically said for the stream and my game I didn't really want to do all that stuff. We're kind of paying the penalty a little bit in the sense that we don't really have a plan, which I'm sort of maybe thinking, maybe rethinking right now, because as an example, the idea of a heal, having not thoroughly thought that through, is it an item? Is it a consumable item? Is it a refillable item? Do we have a plan for all of these items? And the answers to all those things are no, because we've been doing this rapid prototype style, which in some ways is a lot of fun, but in some ways is also going to slow us down later. So I may take some time to try to plan out some of these things a little bit better, but as I said, we're going to just stumble through this for right now. And I think we're going to convert this and add the idea of an item to the game. So right now, this is our item definition. And if we take a look at our item definition, right now you can see that we're currently set to a weapon. We have spare ammo, magazine ammo, all these different things. And I'm wondering, we can continue to use ammo and just understand it as ammo also works for the other things. But here's an example. Let's say that you have an item that has charges. Okay, and let's say you get 3 charges for that item. Is that really ammo? No. Is there a better use for that? We could call it charges if it's clearer. But if the systems are going to use ammo, maybe we either change the name of ammo to be like charges, ammo doesn't work, bullets doesn't work. Yeah, we'd have to think about that a little bit. Again, this is where we get to maybe the planning might not be a bad thing. But for now, let's just change this to, we're going to go, all right, so down here in Lyra, we have under this, currently in this shooter, because we're still kind of using this shooter game backbone, which we may or may not change at some point. This heal's kind of floating out here in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what it's doing there. I feel like we need another category here because we have weapon and then we have all of the attributes of a weapon. So let's just, I'm going to add an item here. Let's add an item. And we know it's an item, and let's see here. We're going to actually change this to not just items, just double checking the stream, that's good. Okay. And rather than ammo size, weapon, and spare, let's give it the idea of charges, uses. Hold on, let's bring up maybe at the source. Can we rename these actually? Add subtag, more actions, remove exact tag. Interesting. Doesn't look like there's a rename option here, so I'm going to take a second and take a quick look at a thesaurus. Reuse. Charges. None of those words are great. Refills? Replenish. I'm gonna go with charges for now. If we have to, we can just change it all. So let's just, no, not delete this. Let's go with item, we'll add a subtag and we'll call it charges. All right, and let's say that that's 1. I can deal with that. Now, for this kind of item, we shouldn't be needing ammo or spare ammo. I'm gonna leave them there for a second while we figure out how this is going to work. All right. This is interesting. If we play right now and we go pick up this health pack, because we also don't want to break, this should not touch or mess with our item system. All right, so interestingly enough, we have, it still picked it up, which is kind of interesting. If we look at our inventory, we have our equipment, we have active items, and we have items. And it's actually not showing up in any of these. Interesting, but it does show up. It does show up in our equipped stuff. Okay, we need to take a look at our inventory interface. I think we actually did, by changing that from a weapon, we did make it so it doesn't show up. So let's take a look at our inventory. Inventory. So Looking for tiles. There was a tile. Here's our inventory tile. Is this the right one? Nah, that's not the right one. This is the right one. All right, this is our inventory. Let's see here. On the left, we have our header, our buttons, our equipment content, which is an inventory items grid. And within our grid, here we go. We've got add inventory items, add inventory items. It gets the inventory content type, which in this case is zero. Okay, so if it's a 0, it's looking for weapons. All right, if it's, I see. Okay, so it needs to have, oh, interesting. So we need an inventory active tag on this thing, which I don't know that we have. So let's go back to, first off, we don't need this open. And then in here, we added our item charges, but what we don't have is we don't have our inventory item tag. So let's add that and let's change this to active. So this is an active inventory item. And I believe we also need to set that to 1 so that it'll show up, but we'll just double check that. If we play now, okay, and then we open up our inventory, we look at our active items, heal pickup is there. That's great. Now, all right, well, that's okay. So that's there. And one quick test would be if we didn't set this to 1, because I think it'd be great if we just, there's a difference between having the tag and having a value. So we bring back this and we go to active. Yeah, it doesn't show. So we do need that 1 there. Okay. And let's save that. Oh, we're probably gonna need perf force open this morning. What am I doing? Okay. Compile and save. And then if we go back to this, where is that used? See, this is the interesting thing to me. Just literally it's has stat tag, it's what it's called. And so has stat tag requires that there actually be a value. Usually there's 2 ways to think about tags. Tags with values and tags that you just have the tag. The fact that I always have to set it as 1 or 0, can't decide if I like that or not. Because I might like to just remove the tag. Stat tag contains tag. Can I go to this definition? I want to see how this works. That's going to take too long. Let's do this. This stat tags is what? Alright, well, while that's thinking, we'll come back over here. So if it has a tag, it's basically going to drop it into our grid. Alright? Which is fine. Alright, so now our health item's showing up. Now we've got to get it so that we can actually use it. Also, I don't want to auto-equip this thing when I walk over it. So let's take a look at how that's happening, because it's a health pack. And, well, let me rephrase that. I don't want to auto-equip it into our weapon slots, that's for sure. I would rather have this become an active item, I think. Alright, so let's go back and take a look at that. And that is going to be inside of here, I believe. If we edit our weapon spawner, which again is a misnamed now at this point because it can spawn more than that. When we walk over this thing, that's our tick, begin play. Interesting. Give weapon. Where's that called from? Set the Niagara. Set the Niagara. Huh. Give weapon. Find references. Where is this being called? An ability spawner? Interesting. Wait a second. Oh, this is a different one. What? Here's our weapon spawner. Okay, we have 2 give weapons. There's usually so what I'm looking for here is there's usually an overlap event, which I thought we had. So we're beginning to find the item fragment. We're checking if it's valid or not. We're setting. Oh, you know what? It may be in the. That's the weapon ID, weapon instance base in this blueprint. If we walk over it, is this what we're doing? There's nothing in here. Okay. I'm officially confused. Who's calling give weapon? Alright, let's try this a different way. Let's go. Let's make sure we're hitting this give weapon. See if we can figure out who's calling this. So we'll hit a breakpoint here. Alright, and then let's bring up one of our tools. Debug, no, tools. Debug, blueprint debugger. Alright, enter blueprint debugger. Yeah, look, there's a Lyra weapon spawner on overlap begin. Why can't I find that? Okay, it's gotta be because it's inherited. Alright, so let's get rid of our blueprint debugger. Come back to our weapon spawner. Oh, I see. It's in code. Alright, so down here. Is weapon available? Cooldown time, cooldown percentage, collision volume, overlap. On overlap begin. Okay, and if we look at this, this is in, where is this? This is in weapons, Lyra weapon spawner. So there's feedback, games, players, weapons, Lyra weapon spawner.cpp. Oh, okay, so on overlap again, we're gonna attempt a pickup weapon. And attempt pickup weapon is going to give weapon. Here we go. This is how this is being called. All right. Which is good. It's just good to know how some of these things work sometimes. So now we're gonna give the weapon. All right, that's not too bad. And then we're gonna come in here, we're gonna go through our inventory manager, check if the activator has already used the weapon. Okay, so this is making an assumption, all right? And this is because we reused the weapon code. So this makes sense that we're making an assumption here. All right, and what it is it's like, it's basically in here, because it's assuming it's a weapon, it's automatically going to pop it into the next slot. So that's what this whole section does. Basically, it's like, if it can be added as a new pickup, it's gonna check for the slot and make sure it's an active item. But we don't want to do this if it's not a weapon. And this is assuming it is a weapon, because it's called a weapon spawner. I think we want to make sure that it has a weapon tag before we do this. I think that's it. I want to make sure I get the right stat tag on this. Okay, we don't need that breakpoint, that's fine. So let's do this. So if it has the tag, so right now it's looking for spare ammo. We only want to do this portion if it's a weapon. And I thought we could use stat tag. As stat tag comes off of, what is this? The item. Okay. Existing weapon instance. What is this? Receiving pawn. Where does this get set? Quick bar inventory existing weapon instance. Oh, that's if it has one. Okay, no, we don't want to do that. We do want the weapon item class. What can we get from this weapon item class? Get nothing from that standpoint. Get default stat from item depth. Okay. I guess. Weapon. Let's try. Well, I guess we'll just use a greater than here. So if this is true, this is going to be a weapon. We're going to take all of these, feed them in here. Oh. Alright, so if it's a weapon, then we're going to do all this quick bar stuff. Otherwise, we're going to go down through there. I believe that's what we want. Okay, so we'll skip that whole section. Let's give that a shot. Compile, save. Need to check that out. And let's go. It's gonna work on the first try. Let's see. All right, well, we don't need this breakpoint. Okay, it did not equip, which is good. There's lots of yellow printing. I couldn't read it because I wasn't fast enough. And I don't know if we have it. Because it's definitely not showing up in our inventory. So did we actually... Interesting. I have no idea. Did we miss something in here? Oh. Yes. We do need something. Okay. We kind of messed up where we did this. Alright, so what happened was we skipped everything. we skipped adding the item, we skipped all that stuff. So we want to move this to a different spot. I think we want the same stuff, but we need it in a different place. And that is that we're going to still do the pickup. We're still going to add the item definition. We're going to not do this quick bar slot. And we're not going to do set active. All right, so basically what we need to do is make a little space in here. And we're going to take all of this and shift it over. Including this slot too. I'm going to shift that over. Okay, that should make room for us to put in our test, which is here. So if that's true, then we're going to equip it and we're going to need to test this. If it's false, we're going to go about our merry way, which is here. Just cleaning up the blueprint a little bit, and then we'll get back on track. Okay, so compile and save, and somehow our camera is running out of batteries. Should not be happening. Always fun over here. Okay, so compile and save. Give this another shot. See if we can't get an item. All right, theoretically we picked it up. If we look at our inventory, we do have an active item, which is our heal pickup, which is great. So we've removed a bunch of the weapon tagging and all that stuff. That's great. So that part's working. And now we want to make it so we can use it. If I click on this, I think it's going to equip it as a weapon again. It did. The other weird thing is, not only did it equip it as a weapon, it didn't put it in a slot. Like, that's not what we want. So it took it and it dropped it in with our sword. Didn't give us the heal that I know of. And I don't even know, actually, let's do that. Let's see what abilities we have right now. Abilities. We do have heal, which is great. That's part of kind of like the thing that we have as our debug. So we have heal, which is cool, but we can't use it. And it's also on top of our sword right now. So let's see if we can't fix that. So the active items. So here's our active items, and then here's our inventory screen. We're going to add the inventory items. We're going to clear the children. We're going to see if it has a stat tag, but what stat tag? Weapon, active, or static. Okay. And then it's going to add the tile, right? And the tile is going to check to see if it is a weapon. How is that determined? It's a Boolean. So that's got to be inside of our screen content. Is equipped. Add child to uniform grid. Tile counter. Interesting. I was thinking that it would be here that it would set whether or not it's a weapon or not. Let's find all the references to this. Whoa. Where in the... Holy goodness. Okay, so first we're going through all this fragment stuff. And then we're coming in here and we're setting weapon to true if it's a weapon. That's setting the tile style. Okay. So I don't think this is a weapon. I'm pretty sure this is not a weapon. And so if this isn't a weapon, when we're in this screen for our inventory tile, when we click on that, all right, we just want to, let's just see if we have it set as a weapon. Let's go. Let's damage ourselves a little bit. Pick this up, go to our inventory screen, active, and click on it. All right, so first things first, when we come in here, is weapon is false, great. All right. And does it have the stat tag? It does have a stat tag as active. And then, are we just blindly adding all of our active items to weapons? Maybe that's what we're doing. Finds what, is it valid? It is valid. gets the players and all that stuff. That should be valid. Gets the equipment def, equips the item. This is the Lyra equipment manager. Interesting. So it's just going to call code. And then it's going to remove a stat tag of inventory item count. Oh, interesting. And then it's going to remove the instance from okay. So all right, we got a couple problems. So when we equip this item, we're basically adding, all we're doing is adding it to the equipment class. I think we need some more debug tools. All right, and here's why. Because our UI is kind of helping us debug right now, but we don't actually know what is currently like under the hood. We don't know what the equipment manager has in it unless it's actually displayed, and our UI may be showing us bugs. So I think it might be worthwhile to, in this menu, to add a button beyond abilities called equipment. So let's do that real quick. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to move both of these closer to save us development time. Okay. So let's take a look at our debug window. And that's going to be a widget. And in here, we want to let's duplicate this. And this one is going to be called equipment. Equipment. All right. And in our graph, this gets all the abilities. All right, so we want a similar button. And this is modal tool. Modal tool. This is modal 2. What's up, Global Elite? We are working on a prototype game. We're working towards a working prototype, but mostly what we're here for is we're here to, as kind of like hopefully to help answer questions with Unreal and game dev and things like that. So basically I'm hanging out. People come and go, kind of like office hours, you know, if you did the whole office hours thing. And in the absence of people asking questions or to fill the time, and if people are interested, I'm actually just working towards building out a prototype game. And currently we are trying to figure out why our health packs, or more specifically, we're trying to figure out our health packs are currently registered as weapons, which is sort of messing up a bunch of things with them. And so we're converting those over to be active items that are consumable instead. And right now, we're right in the middle of that. Hopefully that answers that. Thanks for hopping in. What are you doing? You working on stuff? Are you just cruising? Are you in game dev? All right, so let's see here. We've got, I totally just lost my train of thought. Oh, cool. What are you working on then? Are you working on your own game, or do you have, are you working on game at work as well? All right, so we have our equipment, and this, rather than calling this modal tool to modal 2, let's call this equipment. Oh, very cool. What kind of game are you making? All right, so for our equipment, let's do a similar thing to this. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to get our, when we click on our equipment, we're going to get our hero, and then we're going to get, we're not going to get all abilities. Right now we're getting all the abilities here. We don't need that. And we don't even need the ability system component or any of that stuff. But what we do want is we do want to get all of our items. Is that really what we want? Oh, okay, so attack shooter, that's great. What kinds of things in the marketplace are you missing, and can you build them yourself? All right, so we're going to get the component by class, we're going to get all the items, and then for each one, we are going to do some stuff. All right, so here we go. That was not the right, well, maybe that was the right one. Ah, here we go. So from the owning player, we're going to get the inventory, then we're going to get all of the items, and then for each item, we're going to get the display name. Is that going to work? And let's print that. So we'll start there. So this is just going to print out all of our items. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to confirm that all the items that are currently showing in our equipment, in our inventory UI, is actually all of the items that we have, and we're not missing some by accident, for example. Now, I believe there might be a nicer display name for us to show for these things. Let's see if we can find that real quick. All right, tile counter adds a child to the uniform grid. The child that it is adding what stat tag is it looking for? Active, static, or weapon. Interesting. Okay. And it adds it to an inventory tile. And on the inventory tile, this is going to be in our, not clicked, construct. Okay. Set tile style, this is what we're looking for. This is going to have a bunch of the information. This is going to be, oh, interesting. You know, rather than printing this out, it may just be easier to add a tab to our inventory that doesn't care what it is. It's just going to put it all in there. Because this is going to have our item counts in it. It's going to have all right, well, let's just see if our print even works. All right, here we go. So let's hop over here, do some damage to ourselves, and then we'll pick this item up. Now, when we pick this up, if we go to our debug menu and we print out equipment, nothing prints. Our abilities print, but not our equipment. Why is that? If we come back to debug options, see if we're even hitting this breakpoint. Oh, I see. You're looking for the higher stuff. Have you ever looked at, I don't know if it still exists. There used to be a site back in the day called Turbo Squid, and so there's two. There was Turbo Squid, and then there was 3D Cafe. Let me just see if we're hitting our breakpoint. We are. We're not getting any inventory items. That's why. That's what we have a problem here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Turbo Squid. They may have gone out of business. I don't know. Oh no. Check out Turbo Squid. So I don't. If the Unreal Marketplace doesn't have what you're looking for, you can kind of see this on my screen, I think. So Turbo Squid, for example, if you type in here, what are we looking at? AR-15. There's a gun. So these are all of the AR-15 models that are available here, and there's a lot, and they're going to be pretty highly detailed. So you might have to do a little bit of work to get these down. I'm not sure. These are going to vary in cost as well as in complexity, but like here's a $10 AR-15 3D model with it's an OBJ file and other. You might be able to find some stuff in here that if you can't find a specific weapon in the marketplace that you're looking for. Okay, so back to this. We don't have any items? How is that possible? Maybe because we don't need to cast to a shooter mannequin before we do this. Let's do this again. Okay, here we go, play. Man, it's still not printing anything. How is that possible? This cast succeed. We should totally be able to get this component by class. It's looking for Lyra inventory manager component. Get all items. That's how the inventory screen works. How is that even possible that that's not working? That's our inventory item. Items in inventory. Gets the owning player, gets a component by class. That's it. We should just be able to do this. We shouldn't even have to do any of the other stuff. So why is that? I'm gonna append. I want to see if it's just they don't have display names. All right, let's go again. Okay, what am I looking for? Oh, all right. Well, it's printing now. Okay, so we have 3 things, and it's not very useful, what it's printing right now. So let's see if we can get a little bit more information out of it. So it gets the tag stack count. Display name when equipped comes from the inventory fragment. Okay. So let's get this and we'll print this instead. And back in our debug options, what we're going to do, oh, it does not like that. So for this, hold on, what's our target for this fragment? The item. For this item, we're going to find the fragment by class, and then we're going to get the display name when equipped, and we'll pop that into our in string. All right, and then for each of these, we'll do that. Okay, so now when we play, we should get the same thing, but this time we'll get the names of stuff. Okay. Yep, so we have heal, pickup, sword, and pistol. So it's just printing all three. So we quickly updated, well, relatively quickly updated our debug menu. So now we know that we have a way to double check that what is being displayed in our inventory is actually what's in our, on the UI is actually part of what's in our equipment manager. So if I click on this heal pickup, it's going to go ahead and it's going to do some stuff. And in this case, it gets it, finds the fragment, and then it equips it. And that's in the equipment manager, and then it removes the stat tag count, removes an instance from the inventory. Okay, so at this point, it's removed it, it's equipped it, but do I still have it in my items? No, I don't. Okay, so it did actually remove it. Interesting. Is that what we want? Equipping the item. What does this do? It gets the result. It adds an in. Oh, it's putting it in the equipment manager. Okay, we need to do some more debugging. And the debugging that we need to do is this. In our debug options, what we should do is we should do two things here. We should create a label. So let's do this. Let's go, that's inventory. First things first, let's print a string and we'll call this is going to be inventory. Okay. All caps, huh? Inventory. And let's put in a switch here. Nope. Nope. This is what we want. Or no, a sequence. So I left click and press S to do that quickly. All right, so now we have a sequence. So this is going to be our inventory print. Pretty straightforward. Let's copy this, paste it down here. And then this is going to be our equipment. All right. Let's rename this to equipment. And then rather than getting the inventory manager, let's get the equipment manager. And much the same way that we did with the tile, this is going to be That's the inventory item. That's on clicked. So here's our inventory screen. In our designer, we have an equipped screen. This vertical box is an equipment items grid. And our equipment items grid has what in it? Let's take a look. Equipment. Interesting. How does this equipment items grid work? It's not hit testable. Oh my goodness. This is on button clicked. Get desired focus. Event construct destruct. Add inventory items. Here we go. Clears the children. Equipped inventory item instances clears. Oh, interesting. So the way that it's deciding something is equipped is whether or not it's in the quick bar slots. So basically, the problem. Okay, so here's the. Basically, this is doing the debug for us, right? It's basically getting the slots in the quick bar slot, all right? And for each one, if it's valid, it's adding a tile for it. So the problem is we're adding two things to the first slot, effectively. And that's happening when we click on that button, which is here. We're equipping the item. But when we equip this item, equipment lists adds an entry, and then it calls on equipped. That's interesting. What is this equipment list? This is the Lyra Equipment Manager component. Whereas this is getting the quick bar component. This is kind of weird. So basically what's happening is there's this weird disconnect between the equipment manager and the quick bar slot. And our equipment manager, do we have any equipment manager up here? Here's our equipment manager component. What do we have available for us here? We can get the ability, we can add an entry. Okay. We can remove an entry. We can get the lifetime, we can equip and activate an item. Which, by the way, I don't see any difference between. These look like they're doing the same thing. Equip and activate. Results, null pointers, adds the entry. If it on equipped, yeah, I don't see what the difference is there. Unequip, we can replicate some stuff, initialize, uninitialize, get the first instance of type, get all the equipment instances of type. I wonder if equipment list is not available to us. Let's go to this .h file. This is in equipment. We scroll up here and we look at our equipment, and this is the equipment manager. Yeah, so this equipment list is private, so we're not gonna be able to get this. Flyer equipment list. Public. Add entry, remove entry. Entries. Yeah, we can't get all of the equipment. It's kind of weird. Hold on. Equip, unequip, replicate, initialize, get first instance of type. Private. There's nothing. Okay, this is kind of a bummer. All right, so basically in here, normally when we get, we're not gonna get all items. If we get assets. Here we go. So we can get instances of type or first instance of type. We can't, there is no just get all of it. It just doesn't exist. Because you can see here, if we look at get what the get first instance of type, get control F, get all, get ints, get all. Hold on a second. What is this? What was the name of that function again? This is the .h file. Get instance of type. Get first instance of type. Here we go. Get equipment instances of type. Let's go back to this. Get equipment instances of type. So it basically goes through the entries, and then for each one, if it is, it returns it as instant type. So there's no way to do any. Now, we're not going to do this during the live stream, but we actually want another function here in order to have the ability to get everything all at once if we want to. And that would just be get equipment instances. which would literally return, all it would do is it would just return this equipment list entries. That's it. So it's super easy. The problem is doing that during the live stream, I will have to recompile all of our source code, and that will take way too long. So, but what we're going to do is we're just going to continue down this path. I think it's actually, we're kind of at a point now where it's sort of time to kind of do a little bit of our wrap up because we are running out of time. Actually, we hit the end of our stream, but we're going to, next time, we're going to continue working, or hopefully between now and next time, I'm going to get a little bit more of these debug things up so we can continue to get the idea of a differentiation between weapons and items. And I imagine we're going to have to explore the whole idea of items that are consumable and all these things. Remember, the whole goal of this is not to build items and stuff like that. It's so that we can get the enemy players and characters, specifically the AI, to be able to heal themselves when they need to. That's what started this little side thread that we're on right now. I imagine, hopefully with some luck, we'll be able to get through this by Sunday, or at least be making some significant progress with just our overall itemization and go from there. So Global Elite, thanks for hopping in. Hopefully you were able to find some of the weapon stuff you were looking for. Everybody else who's been hanging out in the wings, again, thanks for hopping in. Like I said, my name's Kevin. We do this twice a week, Sunday nights at 10:15 Pacific Standard Time and Wednesday mornings at 8. If you have questions, feel free, hop in, ask those questions. I'm happy to stumble through those with you together. Otherwise, just throw them in the comments and I can try to answer during the live stream in your absence. Have a great Wednesday, everybody, and I will catch you all on the next live stream. Take it easy.